My name is Peter Tarias and I'll be reviewing Phantasy Star IV for the Sega Genesis.
Phantasy Star IV for the Sega Genesis was easily the best JRPG on the system, a fantastic fusion of storytelling, 16-bit art, and gameplay. The game was directed by Rieko Kodama, who was in the news earlier in the year with the announcement that she was receiving the Game Developers Pioneer Award. I've expressed my admiration for the series countless times, especially Phantasy Star II for its brilliant depictions of a utopia and its fall. Phantasy Star IV is the story about what happens to the fallen utopia a millennium later. Time and legacy are an integral part of the tapestry that weaves together into Phantasy Star IV. The decisions people made in Phantasy Star 1 and 2 have a huge impact on the future. This has an even more sinister meaning for those who finish Phantasy Star 2 and learn the sad truth. Terrans were responsible for the mother brain that brought ruin to the Algo system. At the same time, the technological marvels they established have continued functioning, shepherded by a number of androids. But the evil entity called the Dark Force has corrupted the planetary systems that had once made the planet a teeming paradise, and the religious leader Zio is channeling that dark power to bring ruin to Motavia. It's against this backdrop that you start off as Chaz, a young bounty hunter being guided by the more experienced hunter, Alice Landale. I've always loved Phantasy Star's unique fusion of fantasy and science fiction that gives the series so much of its identity. The characters wield swords and guns to battle, fight giant sandworms, and ride hydrofoils across the ocean. A mystery propels them. Why are so many biomonsters being created? Finding the answer takes Alice and Chaz across a variety of towns, meeting a diverse group of characters from the enigmatic and cocky Ruin, to the revenge-driven Grizz, and the curious academic Han who wants to get to the bottom of the crisis. In Birth Valley, Alice and Chaz discover the bioplant has gone awry, which in part explains the monster problem. This plot thread is a nod to Phantasy Star II and the climax of the middle act, which ends in the death of your companion, Nay. Inside the bioplant in PS4, we meet Rika, who was created by the AI that controls the bioplant and is the product of 1,000 years of improvement on genetic information from a prototype prior to the Great Collapse. Rika is essentially Nay's descendant and becomes a key member of the party. For me, it was a connection to a party member I had cared about from Phantasy Star II, and I felt a deep sense of legacy. Rika is one of the most memorable characters in Phantasy Star IV, and the one scene that stays with me is the first time she emerges from the bioplant and sees the blue skies. She's in awe, delighted by the expanse as well as the vibrant color of the flowers. The music that plays conveys her sense of childish curiosity perfectly. Manga panels give a more cinematic feel to the cutscenes, each visual square stacking on top of the other to provide juxtaposition or emphasize a specific mood. This helps highlight the mentor-pupil relationship of Alice, who is teaching the younger Chaz. Chaz was from a distant country with a dark past, but Alice gave him a chance at a new life. Their witty bantering and their genial familiarity is a big part of what makes the first leg of the adventure so much fun. But events take a dark turn with the entrance of the Black Magician Zio. Zio isn't just launching a physical attack on the Motavians, even though he's destroyed towns like Molcom. He wants to enslave them spiritually, creating a church full of fanatic followers. Consumed by his personal failure as a magician and a twisted hatred of existence, Zio welcomes his god, Dark Force, as it's giving him his power to destroy the world. When your party finally does fight him, Zio barely moves, just using his arms in contempt to cast spells. He is impervious to attacks, Dark Force's face hovering behind him. It's almost as though he's taunting the entire party until he gets tired and launches a black wave spell that is about to consume Chaz. Alice jumps in his place, taking the blast. The party, seeing their attack as hopeless, retreats. There is a genuine sense of hopelessness, especially as your leader, Alice, is badly injured. Without her to guide the party, I felt lost, unsure what to do. Alice directs them to find Rune and the Psycho Wand, which can nullify Zio's magic barrier. As events become more desperate and hopeless, Chaz learns to rely on his friends as they fight through their voyage together. They eventually leave Motavia for the wintry planet of Dezolis. The development team did a great job of refining the game mechanics for Phantasy Star IV. The difficulty curve is much more balanced in the 4th game, so that even though there is still a bit of grinding to do, it's nothing as soul-crushing as 2 and 3. The battles are much more dynamic since this is the first time in the series that the players, enemies, and background all appear at the same time. The music is catchy, the flow of battle is quick, and macros allow the automation of battles, which was very convenient. There is a strong sense of cycles with the recurring motifs and even locations, like the air castle from Phantasy Star I coming back in a rage among the debris of the destroyed planet Parma. There's even a nod to the black sheep of the 4 Phantasy Star III, with the remains of one of the massive spaceship worlds lying in ruins for you to explore. The party eventually discovers an all-new planet and learns the true origins behind the planets of the star system. An ancient battle between the profound darkness and the great light was at the root of it all. Unfortunately, the destruction of Parma in Phantasy Star II upset the precarious balance established long before they were born. The people living on the planet are suffering for a fight they had no part in. In games, it's relatively easy to do the right thing. In real life, it's hard and scary. So I love the fact that Chaz has serious moments of doubt throughout the game. When someone important to the party passes away, he is devastated, unsure of what to do. It takes a somber exchange with both Rika and Rune to help him muster motivation to continue. Later on, when Chaz learns that the fate of the entire Algosar system relies on them, he is overwhelmed by the pressure and upset at the unwanted burden, lashing out in understandable, if selfish, defiance. It's at this point Chaz is taken underneath the Esper mansion of the hero of Phantasy Star 1 and 2, Lutz. Chaz is granted the legendary sword, the Elcidion, and then sees a vision of all the heroes of Phantasy Star 1 and 2. It was incredible seeing Rolf, Ney, Odin, Meow, and Rudo again, the memory of all the hours I'd spent grinding to level up these characters flooding back to me. The eternal fight against Dark Force had taken many permutations, both in the Algo Star system and for me in the outside world playing through each iteration of the Phantasy Star series. I've played through 2 and 4 multiple times, and I remembered where I was each time I started anew and how different my life was. Seeing Chaz's vision of the past made me think of all those years in between each game, the choices I'd made in my life, the friendships, the bonds, and even the conflicts. I've been playing the Phantasy Star series as long as I could remember playing games. Although it's not millennium separating each playthrough, but rather decades, the sense of RPG legacy stirred me. I don't know how many more times I'll get to play the Phantasy Star games, but I love each trek through the games. It's not just the cool science fiction and superb art that attracts me, it's the timeless story about courage under desperate odds and friendships that get tested then forged into something stronger as the warriors fight together against the profound darkness that makes me wish Phantasy Star IV hadn't been the end of the millennium, but rather a new beginning. Thank you to everyone who watched this video to the end. I'm really sorry this is so late. I do really enjoy making these, so I'll try to make more in the upcoming year as there's a bunch of JRPGs I'd love to cover. In the meantime, you can check out more of my written retrospectives on Kotaku. Have a happy holidays and hopefully I'll see you next time.